Sabbath, seventh day, completion, perfection, wholeness, and rest. Under the old Jewish law, no one was allowed to do any work on the Sabbath. You remember in Exodus it talked about nobody can do any work. You can't do any work, your household can't do any work, your livestock can't do any work, man slave, women slave, nobody can do any work. As modern day metaphysicians, we must come to an understanding of what the Sabbath is and what it is not. Traditionally, the Sabbath is a day God rested after creating the heavens and the earth and everything in between. In Genesis, we're told, and on the seventh day, God finished his work, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day for all the work that he had done, and he blessed the seventh day and hallowed it. Now, as metaphysicians, that would lead us to believe and to understand that the number 7 is very significant. 7 movements of creative law, 7 colors of the spectrum, the 7 main chakras in the body. We know there's more, but we're talking about the 7 main chakras. 7 principal tones of music, 7 senses of man, 5 physical and 2 spiritual. For mankind, the Sabbath is a day set aside to rest from our daily occupations, a day for meditation or study of spiritual things, a day to worship our Creator, Sunday. But here's my challenge to that so ingrained belief system. When you understand the true meaning of Sabbath, you'll take your understanding to a new level. You'll realize that the idea of the present day Sabbath is a result of the rules and laws laid down by ancient churches and ancient church leaders. Hold on to your seats, because the Sabbath has nothing to do with any particular day of the week. Most churches have Sunday as the Sabbath, but what about the churches that have Saturday services? So what kind of work week did God really have? Did he work from Monday through Saturday with Sunday as the Sabbath? Or maybe he worked Sunday through Friday with Saturday as the Sabbath? See, you have to think about what you're thinking about, and this is why I say to you, when you're thinking about spiritual things, you have to go, okay, does this make sense? Some things are going to say, that resonates with me. Other things you're going to look at and you're going to say, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. This is the path of a metaphysician. This is the path of a metaphysician. You see, God did not create days. He didn't create weeks. He didn't create months. He didn't create years. Time is an invention of humans. It was invented to give us points of reference for passing events. He didn't create it, we did. Now, metaphysically, time represents the limitation of man's consciousness or man's awareness of space. For the most part, we say space and we think empty. Metaphysically and truthfully, when you say space, you should say vibrant energy. You should say alive. You should say the waters of consciousness. I'm constantly telling you all the time, this space that we see here is not space, it's full of creative energy. We walk through it. We breathe it. All the time, every moment of our day and night. Time and space. But here's the clincher. The only power in time is what mankind imparts to it, because it's not really real. The concept of time is actually a form of bondage for humans. Time crucifies us to the physical and the material realm. But even more importantly, if we're not mindful of what we're doing spiritually, the element of time can cloud and darken our concepts of truth for us. That's the problem with time. The Sabbath, as an institution, was established by man, as I said. But unwittingly, when they set up this law and mandated its observance, metaphysically that law was burdensome, and they became slaves to their own creation. And that has been perpetuated in our religious history throughout time. The Jews have become burdened with the observation of the letter of the Sabbath commandment, And that created a multitude of ridiculous prohibitions and formalities. You know, Jesus tried to enlighten his kinsmen through his examples of bold freedom and total disregard of certain man-made laws. For instance, healing and ministering on the Sabbath. Now, you all understand that Jesus was a rebel. Everybody's got that right. He was a rebel. He was a rebel. He did what he had to do. He did what the Father told him to do. And he went against the grain in a lot of things. But he was following the instruction of his Father.